Hello and welcome to BBC World News. Russian forces are said to be making a renewed push towards Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Satellite images show a large Russian convoy which had been stalled north of the city has now dispersed, with vehicles moving into firing positions in nearby towns. Well, US officials also believe Russian forces have moved 5 kilometres nearer to Kyiv in the past 24 hours, though it's not clear if an attack is imminent. The BBC's Mark Lobel has the latest.
Remember that stalled Russian convoy heading to the capital? It's now seemingly on manoeuvres, seen here in a forest and in town. In what may be a renewed push, could it be readying for action? But further east, a separate Russian advance didn't get a warm welcome, under attack from the Ukrainian military. It's Ukraine's resistance, even in heavily besieged cities like Mariupol, that many fear will lead to Russia resorting to chemical weapons to win.
People can hide amongst the rubble. Ukrainian military can hide there, jump out with their anti-tank weapons and kill the vulnerable tanks. But if you use chemical weapons, that's not stopped by concrete walls and stuff. It seeps underground and kills people underground.
More people leave their homes as fears of even nastier attacks grow. Russia accuses America of biological activities in Ukraine. Unproven claims they will air at the UN Security Council on Friday. America says the claims are laughable. Ukraine's President Zelensky agrees.
Меня это очень беспокоит, потому что не единожды мы убеждались уже.
This makes me really worried because we've been repeatedly convinced. If you want to know Russia's plans, look at what Russia accuses others of doing.
Что еще вы нам приготовили?
What else have you prepared for us? Where will you strike with your chemical weapons? At the maternity hospital in Mariupol? At the church in Kharkiv? Or at the children's hospital?
There's pessimism too from EU leaders who discussed Putin's war in a former royal palace in Versailles. They offered Ukraine warm words and more material support, but no sign they will rush its EU membership through, condemning Russia for having brought war back to Europe. Mark Lobel, BBC News.
Half of Kyiv's population has fled the city, fearing Russian attack. Other Ukrainians, though, are arriving either to escape fighting elsewhere or to defend the capital. Oleksiy Goncharenko is a member of Ukraine's parliament. He's from the southern port city of Odessa, but is currently in Kyiv. I asked him to outline the current situation there.
The situation in Kyiv itself is calm. I mean, even in the last several days, there were no big bombings, but there are fightings around the city. And there is an awful humanitarian situation, catastrophe in the town satellites of Kyiv to the north and to the west from the city. People there are trapped by Russians, no water, no electricity, nothing. And there are fightings there. It's 10, 20 kilometers from the border of the city. Last several days, as a member of civilian militia, I also joined it. I took part in evacuation of people from there, and I can tell you that it is absolutely awful. So that is the situation here for the moment.
What is it that brought you from Odessa to Kyiv?
The war, when the war started, I was in Kyiv as a member of the parliament, and from that time I did not leave Kyiv for just even 1 hour, because here it was one of the most dangerous places, and I wanted to stay with our people shoulder to shoulder. I joined civil militia, I received weapons. I don't have a military experience, but as thousands of my compatriots, I am ready to fight if they will penetrate to the city. In Odessa, fortunately, the situation is calm. There are no fightings around the city, and enemy is quite far from the city. So it's more dangerous here in Kyiv. That's why I'm here and trying to do my best.
How worried are you about news that satellite images show the Russian convoy outside the city has potentially dispersed?
I'm not worried about this convoy. I'm sure our army, which is holding the ground, They burnt already many of such convoys, and they will burn down this convoy too. What I'm worried about is these awful barbarian shellings and attacks from the air, from Russians, from aircraft, by missiles. This morning again, the Ukrainian cities, Lutsk, Ivano-Frankivsk, Dnipro, were attacked by missiles, and that's awful. And we desperately ask West to help us with air defense and aircraft. And I can't understand why still we can't receive these Polish aircraft or Soviet aircraft that we can use immediately, and that they really don't need them. And the Polish government already said that we are ready to give them to United States, then to give them to Ukraine. And I don't know why United States are reacting very slowly. And I don't accept these words about we don't want to escalate. Sorry, here is a full-scale war. And the only way to de-escalate is just to help us to stop it. If we will not stop Putin here, he will go further. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Georgia, everybody will be under attack.
So how much in need are you of that kind of assistance? What difference would, for example, those planes make to your fighting Russia?
Absolutely. We are not asking for boots on the ground. We are not asking for your pilots in the skies. I mean, NATO countries. We can do everything ourselves. But please provide us with weapons. Help us to defend our women and children and to defend the whole world from this awful Nazism, which is today's Russian Federation under Putin. And it will make a big difference because we can protect our skies, stop these barbarian attacks on kindergartens, schools, maternity houses. They're just bombing pregnant women and newborns. Just imagine this. So that will make a big difference. That will save thousands of lives. That's why it's so important for us to receive air defense systems and aircrafts.